Hello everyone, my name is Jenna, but you guys can call me Jen. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. Hi, hello. It's a favorite release day. I'm so excited. This book is finally out. Guys, my glasses are literally fogging up. I'm so excited. I'm also very warm. So, like if this super condensation-y water glass is any indication, it's a little toasty in here, but it is official. A favorite Faye by me is out. Locke is so excited. He says, oh my gosh, it's my time to shine. It's my time for you all to meet me properly. You get to meet the boy, the bestest boy right here in the corner. We love him so dearly. Oh my God, guys, this is so exciting. Welcome to the official launch video. Also, I wanted to do a writer tag that I was recently tagged in by Jade Juniper. So we're gonna do that as well, and that's gonna also lead into me chatting about my writing goals and things for the rest of the year. Oh, I'm so excited. Locke is also extremely hot, so he's not gonna be able to perch on my shoulder this whole time. But like Mary, he can also kind of sit on my head, like he does with Mary very often. He likes to go up between her antlers and sit on her head, which we kind of love. But anyways, friends, oh, I'm so excited. It's finally here. Locke can hang out there, so he's still in the video. It's officially August 14th. My third and final book in the Aramount Books series is out in the world. The journey that started back in 2022 when I got the idea for a second story, and this little companion standalone series all set in a seaside town was born. This bad boy came out in 2023. This one came out also in 2023. And now we are in 2025 with the third and final book. The Aramount Cozy series is done. It's wrapped. They're all wonderful. And also you'll notice that A Favorite Faye is quite a bit chunkier than the other two. She ended up being 123,000 words long, which we love. She has a little bit more going on than the first two, which also we love. I'm so excited for you guys to read this. Oh, it's finally here. It's finally here. A reclusive fae, a town guard, and the creature that brought them together. For the past few decades, Merowyn has created a life for herself tucked away in the forest bordering Aramount, surrounded by her lush garden and many creatures, both mundane and magical. She chose a life tasked with managing and balancing the magic flowing through the ley lines that have bundled themselves into powerful nexuses. Zanvi is a town guard perfectly content with his life. He has his friends, his job, despite hating one of his coworkers, and his somewhat secret shifter powers. One night on duty, Zanvi sees a bright light from near Mary's cottage. He decides to investigate and finds Mary injured and a tiny unknown creature at her side. After Zanvi locks this creature in Mary's greenhouse, causing it to panic and to destroy nearly all of Mary's plant stores, Mary misses an essential ritual to keep the ley lines in balance. Zanvi offers help to repair her greenhouse. The two of them start unraveling the mysteries of the little creature, and they plan to fix the magic storming around the little seaside town of Aramount. All the while, they get to know one another and realize there could be more to the life they already know. It's out now! I'm so excited about this, you guys. I'm so relieved. It is finally here. Anyways, my friends, we're here. We have arrived. You guys have seen so much of my writing journey documented in different videos. Like, you guys have seen the writing, the plotting, the editing, and the editing. And there is also another editing vlog coming out tomorrow for you guys that wraps up the final chunk of this book and this edit. So you'll be able to see that as well. And really, top to bottom, you have seen my entire journey with the Aramount books, which is kind of cool, and I love that so dearly. Once again, like with the second story in A Little Luck, we have the same cover artist coming back. We have Tess Brennan with arguably their best work yet for me on my covers. Literally, they just kept leveling up with every single cover that they give me, and I fucking love them so much, and I cannot thank Tess enough for their help and their wonderful artistry on my beautiful covers. I just, look at them. Look at their beautiful faces. And Locke and Thistle here in the corner, if my phone wants to focus on him. He's in the corner there, my little fae creature. The yearning. I can't wait for you guys to see this cover in person when you all get these books. It's gonna be just wonderful. I cannot wait. But yeah, it has been such an interesting journey because I've mentioned this in many different vlogs recently, The journey of writing a second story in A Little Luck was very different from writing A Favorite Fae. And really, writing every single one of these books has been different from one another, because with every book that you start and finish and you go through and you tackle, it's a different writing experience. It's a different editing experience. It's just a different creation process each time. It keeps you on your toes. It really, really does. These two books I drafted, I got the ideas for, and I edited the hell out of them and got them ready for publication within 11 months of the inception of their ideas. A Second Story, thought of it in June 2022, wrote the first draft in June 2022, and had it published in May 2023. A Little Luck, I thought of the idea in November 2022, and it was published in October 2023. Granted, A Little Luck, I kind of worked on a shorter timeline, because even though I did get the idea in November 2022, and I wanted to do like nano, we don't do nano anymore. There's a lot of controversy around it now. We don't. No, but this is what I was gonna do in 2022 for that. I very much did not and ended up really just focusing on A Second Story to get that published and out. But in the months of like when A Second Story was done to the publication of A Little Luck, basically getting it ready in September, that stretch of time, like 7 months, that's when I was really working on this. So both of these were on a very, very, very tight timeline. And thinking of that and going forward with that, I was like, great, I can write cozy books in a year timeline, roughly. Then I met A Favorite Fae. I had the idea for A Favorite Fae in March of 2023, which granted, I was in the middle of these at the time, so I didn't really work on it then. But I started fully working on this after A Little Luck came out in October 2023. This was my November 2023 project that I did not really do. I can't really remember. I just kind of kept going from there. But a year later, I barely had the beginning of a second draft for this one. It was like pulling teeth trying to write this one. This has a lot more going on than my previous two cozies. It had more plot lines, it had more subplots, all this kind of stuff, which makes it more intricate and more interesting and longer. So I ended up taking much longer than I anticipated. This was supposed to come out in 2024, but I didn't really have a draft to really go off of and start editing and all that kind of stuff. So in 2024, really what I did with this one was that I came up with like the story breakthroughs, the big, oh my god, this is what I need to do with the story moments. Talk to myself at like 2 a.m. for an hour and a half, breaking down the plot of this in July of last year. And then I only really started getting into it and writing it in the fall and the winter. And then early this year, properly finishing that second draft, editing the third draft, getting it to beta readers, then editing that draft, and then handing it to my editor at the beginning of June, and then finally, signed, sealed, delivered, getting it done right at the beginning of August. And this is coming out today. It's out today. It's August 14th if you're watching this on release day. But like, this taught me so much about timelines for a bigger project. And I think going forward, any bigger projects that I take on, any bigger fantasy books, which is what I'm going to be doing coming up, and what I want to do from here on is take on bigger projects. I need more time. I just need more time slotted out for myself than a year's timeline. Sure, if I'm writing a smaller cozy like this is only about 60,000 words, whereas this is 123,000 words, right? That's not really comparable of the amount of work that's put in. It's double this, right? More than. So I learned a lot about myself in the writing process of this once again. I impressed myself with my storytelling once again. And when it came to the editing process with this, with my beautiful friend Yeleni, who originally edited Merry & Bright, which came out in 2024, the only thing that came out in 2024, she edited this for me. And with that, I was like, great, you're gonna be my editor for everything from here on out, because you are so thorough and incredible, and you actually take the work that I'm doing and make it better intentionally so. Our editing on this is my best book yet. Like, you guys, I don't know what magic she did. She helped me make my sentences make more sense, which is so funny to say. Because like, yeah, I'm an okay writer on my own, but there's something to say about teaming up with people who you trust and who genuinely like your work and want to help you make it the best it can be. Yes, my editors for A Second Story and A Little Luck were fine, but there's no comparison at all to Yeleni and her work. Sure, she's not a professional editor. She fucking should be, because she's just that good. and the care and intention that went into this book, whereas the editors that I paid for this one really just were there for grammar and like line editing. Yes, this is line editing, but on a different fucking level. I'm so excited for you guys to read this and to see the step up in storytelling, the step up in quality that this is going to be. And it just makes me so excited because going forward, I want to be a better writer. I want to continue bettering my craft and to actually better the words that I'm putting down on the page. And this is just a stepping stone in that. And I'm so happy with it. I'm so proud of this book. I am proud of all of these books. Let's not get away from ourselves. I'm so proud of all of these for so many different reasons. And all together, they're my babies. This is where I started. This is what made me a published author. It's kind of crazy to say that we are coming to the end of the Airmount book series. Let's do this writing tag now, because I want to start talking about like upcoming stuff. Okay, so as I said, this is a writing tag. I was tagged by Jay Juniper, and I think it is a like a mid-year freakout tag, but like curated for writers. But she even said in her video that it's way past the mid-year. It's August. We're in the second half of the year. It's fine. I like these questions, so we're gonna do it. Okay, question number 1. Did you set any writing goals at the beginning of the year, and are you on track? I did set writing goals at the beginning of the year. First one, publish a favorite fae, which we can fucking check off now because it's fucking out, my man. Publish a favorite fae, check mark on that first one. Now, after that, I've got a lot of like novella situations going on and like upcoming projects like write draft 1 of Far Horizons #1, publish a novella, write an Airmount novella, and then write another contemporary romance novella. The novella situations are probably gonna change because though I would really like to write novellas this year, I don't have the brain space for them right now because the novellas that I want to write would be releasing in the holiday season. And I would need to be basically done drafting them at this point, editing them now, which I am not. I don't even have the ideas for them really down. So that might be a 2026 thing. But those were literally all the goals that I wrote for myself. It's so few goals, but they're huge goals. But hey, you know what? We got one down. That's all we need. That's all we need. Next question. What are you currently working on and how much writing have you done so far this year? So I'm in between projects right now because I just fucking finished a favorite it's finally fucking out. What I would like to be working on next is Sage's story. So I'm in between projects right now. And how much writing have I done this year? A fucking lot. Because I've mentioned previously in this video, I believe I finished draft 2 of this book, and then I wrote draft 3, and then I fucking edited it again and again and again. So like, we've done a lot of writing this year. Straight up drafting, not a lot. So whatever you consider writing. I consider writing a lot of different things. Like writing is everything in my perception because, you know, good writing is rewriting. That comes with editing, of course. So I have done a fair amount of writing, but not a lot of straight drafting. But I hope that changes in the second chunk of this year. Have you reached any milestones? Well, I fucking published my book. I fucking published my book, which is a pretty big milestone. I am also working towards, in the second half of the year, I'm looking at future milestones. So a couple things that are coming up. I have a book fair coming up in September. I also got accepted into a queer vendor situation, another book fair in my city. So I'm gonna be there as well. So I'm gonna be 2 different book fairs in September, which is so exciting and also very terrifying. But I think it should be fine and should be fun. So that's awesome. Got those 2 to look forward to. I'm also honored to be accepted into the HearthCon again, which the first annual HearthCon cozy fantasy free convention that's all set online. I got accepted last year and it was the very first one and I hosted my panel. Now this year I think I'm a part of 3 panels and I'm hosting all 3. To be determined, definitely 2, at least 2, most likely 3 because my name is on it, but if anything changes, who knows? But yes, I'm going to be part of that as well. It is over Thanksgiving weekend in Canada, once again, which is totally fine. I'll be up at the lake for it, probably. Very excited for that, and it's going to be a great networking event as well, and I'm so glad that Misty decided to bring me back for that, and I'm hosting some panels. I'm hosting the panels that I'm on, basically, which is really cool. That's exciting. I got to come up with all those questions. So those are milestones later this year. I also would really and am planning on getting my first audiobook out for the Airmount book series. There is already an audiobook out for Merry and Bright. It's, you know, my Christmas novella. That is out and it has been out since last year. But I am recording the audiobooks for the Airmount book series and I want to have a Favorite Phase audiobook ready by the end of August. Whether it goes out at the end of August is to be seen. I still need to fucking record these chapters. I just need to sit down and do it. And now that I don't have a book, like I don't have to also worry about editing it, I can use my time to do that now rather than like feeling guilty about recording audiobook chapters when I should be editing the book, you know, because it's out in the world. So hopefully that audiobook is coming within the month. That is the goal. That is the aim. So that's really exciting because that'll be my first voiced audiobook, and it'll also be the first audiobook in the Air Mount series. And I do really want to get a second story in A Little Luck in audiobook form as well. I just need to do that myself with my voice. So, which is proving interesting in the dead of summer with a fritzy air conditioner and with a cat who is determined to always be in the same room as you. So she says as she starts hitting bell toys in the background. So it's been interesting. It's definitely a learning curve, but I'm excited to keep going with it and to have something out for you guys. The next one is, what does your writing routine look like right now? Has it changed since the beginning of the year, and what would you like it to look like? So I don't really have a writing routine. Whenever I sit down to write, it is usually in the evenings because I am a night writer. I work best at night in the later hours of the day. If you saw my Weekend in the Life of an Indie Author on Deadline video, it was me starting basically at 2 p.m. every day and then working until midnight, 1 a.m., sometimes 4:30 in the morning. But like that's the time I am most productive with my writing. And I always have been more productive in the evening. My brain never wants to read, never wants to do anything in the morning. So that is why I'm most productive in the evening. So in a perfect world, if I was a full-time author, I have 4 jobs essentially. I have my full-time job, my part-time job that actually pay me money. I have this one, and then I also have content creation, which has finally paid me some money, which we love. Thank you, YouTube, for monetizing me. If I was a full-time writer and I could set out to do a routine of sorts, it would definitely be probably starting around 2 p.m. and it would be, you know, sitting at my desk. It would have my over-ear headphones on to really focus me in. That's something that I've noticed this year and last year as well. Like, what really locks me in is those over-ear headphones that just lock me into the zone, you know? So it would be something like that, and I would write for however many hours, 2, 3, depending on the day. That's kind of the goal. That's what I would like it to look like. It's very simple. I enjoy working more in the evening than I do during the day anyway. So have I encountered any good resources about writing? You guys know what's coming. Writing about dragons and shit. It is my favorite podcast. Yes, I encountered it last year for the first time, but I'm going to talk about it here because it's my favorite podcast ever, ever, ever. I love those 3 people so fucking much. I was on the podcast last year and as part of their book club for Empire of Exiles, which is one of my favorite books of all time and my favorite book of last year. Like, it is just such a fucking bananas amazing podcast. Not only is it fun and enjoyable to listen to, they genuinely have such good chats about different things. I've gone back and I'm now re-listening to it. So I'm on episode like 30 of re-listening to this as I like continue to listen to like episode 161, 162 as they come out. So I've been really just kind of getting all their expertise again, listening to their chats. They have such a lovely community as well. I'm on their Discord and it just, it's so wonderful and it's so lovely. And I think that's probably the only really resource that I've found in the past like year, because I'm not actively searching out resources really. I will be when I start on the querying journey, when I finish Sage's story #1, but that is something we're going to talk about later. If you write to music, what are your current go-to songs or vibes to get into writing, which kind of goes into my writing routine. As I mentioned, I have my like big overhead headphones, which are they around me right now? I don't see them, but I put them over my head and I log myself in. Recently, as I was editing A Favorite Fae, it was all like lo-fi, just those like soundscapes and cafe vibes. So that is the vibe that I go for when I'm editing. I can't have any words. I can't have like songs with words in my ears. Previously, on previous books, I've done classical music or film scores as well. So usually I go for something within the vibe of the book. So if I'm working on a cozy book, the vibes are gonna be softer, it's gonna be sweeter, it's gonna be the soundscape set in a garden, it's gonna be something like that. And then if I'm doing something like epic fantasy, it will be the film scores of epic fantasy movies. Like, it'll be like Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit and How to Train Your Dragon and all that kind of stuff. The Witcher, stuff from Skyrim, you know. Next question. Toughest moment related to writing so far this year? You know, I don't know. I think mentally there was a moment where I ended up kind of having like, not really imposter syndrome, just like a genuine disbelief that I could do what I was about to do. And it was when I was coming off of my beta reader edits, or not coming off that, they had all submitted their stuff and I was reading through some of the comments like kind of really quickly. I was genuinely locked in this place of like, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do this in time. Like, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to go forward and like genuinely edit this in a good way. I don't know if I can make this a good story. Because it was rooted in a place of fear of like how long it took me to get from draft 1 to draft 2, because it took me a fucking year to do that. Like, it took me a while to unlock those edits. And I think really what that was is just me, my little pea brain, not realizing that I had already done the work. I had already gone through the work. I had done that big edit already. This was little stuff. That like place of unease like kind of blocked. I recognized immediately that I was like, if I don't immediately act on this and I like actually let myself sit in this fear, I'm genuinely not going to make this deadline, because I'm going to be so stuck and I'm not going to be able to move forward from this. So what I ended up doing is that I like threw myself into rereading my own book, which is like, even with my fear, I was sitting there and I had it on my lap because I had printed it out physically and I was reading it over. And once I had gotten into the book and was reading it for myself to realize like what I wanted to do with it, because it had been like a month or so since I last touched it, I was like, okay, we're good. So, you know, that lovely sense of impending doom, it vanished pretty quickly. So that is always a thing. There's always like a gentle mental state of different things going on in the back of my head. Like recently it was a lot of just like, am I good enough to be like traditionally published? Am I like fooling myself that I'm actually genuinely a good author? Which those are just evil voices in my brain. Obviously I have work to do. Obviously I can always go up from here, but that's with every author. You do not find an author who is immediately at the best they will ever be when they release their first book. They're getting better with every book. And that is my goal and my hope, that I just get better with every book that I give you guys. So the best memory related to my writing this year, I don't believe has occurred because, well, other than the fact that I'm done. I'm done a favorite fae. But I think related to my writing, the best memory is coming probably tonight. I have my launch party with my friends, and that's always really genuinely such a fun time. When it comes to my friends and my writing, they're always so supportive. And the launches that I have for my books are always kind of fun with my friends, because it's just everyone's so focused on the book, and sometimes they like sit and read it out loud together, and it's kind of cool. It's kind of cool. So I'm gonna put a pin in this question and say it's happening tonight when I see my friends. Second last question is something important that you've learned or advice for your future self. It's something that important that I've learned is that I can push through things and I can get things done on deadline. It is just a matter of I don't ever want to. I don't ever want to be stressed under tight deadlines. I want to make sure that my time management is better going forward, and that includes like building in buffer time for people who are involved in the project that aren't me, because I know I can get things done on a tight deadline. I did that. I edited all of part 4 and part 5 and then went back and proofread the entire book in one weekend. Granted, I'm still kind of coming off of that very tired escapade, but I know I can get it done. I trust myself. And also just like practically the locking yourself in with the big headphones. That it works, and it sets myself up for greatness, really. And finally, what would you like to accomplish with your writing during the second half of the year? Now, here's where we're going to talk about some things that have kind of changed. So I did mention earlier in this video that the novella ideas that I've set out, the goals, are kind of being pushed to the wayside because they just mentally are not fitting with this year. I think that could be a fun 2026 project. But I have mentioned in a couple of my writing videos and a couple like, recently, the reading vlogs and editing vlogs and stuff like that, that I am genuinely seeking some kind of a change in my life, in my career, and in my writing career in very different aspects. I think it's since I turned 27, which is really funny because I turned 28 in less than a month now. So like it's been a very stagnant year of like wanting to move forward with different things and wanting change and wanting updates and stuff like that. So a lot of that energy in the past couple months has moved from like big career stuff to specifically writing goals. Now, because I'm done my cozy fantasy series, I'm moving on to fantasy, point blank, epic fantasy, dark fantasy. I'm moving away from the cozy world. That is not to say that we're not going to revisit it. That's not to say that I don't have also more cozy ideas in the back of my brain, but genuinely the heart of my writing and where I have been since I've really like set myself on the path of a fantasy writer, because back when I started being a creative and wanting to be an author and like having that dream, I genuinely didn't even believe that I had the imagination to be a fantasy author as a kid. Like I was just like, no, that's not for me. I love fantasy, it's my favorite genre, but no, we're gonna be a contemporary romance writer instead. That is so funny to me. Like Baby Jenna was just terrified. She was terrified to put in the work. Let's be real. Baby Jenna wrote her first manuscript in completion. It was like 130,000 words of a manuscript. Was a like contemporary romance, heavily inspired by Sarah Dessen, because I was a Sarah Dessen girly growing up. That's what I was aiming for as a kid. Once I actually started trusting myself in my ability to write fantasy, I have always leaned towards darker fantasy stuff. Yes, I will always have a heart for cozies and for cozy stories. I love cozy stories so much. The fact that I wrote 3 of them in this, it's technically 4 because this is a cozy sapphic romance novella. But the fact that I wrote 3 cozy fantasies in the past 3 years, roughly, is one, a product of 2020 and the shit that we went through and we have been going through as an entire society around the world. It's just a desperate search for something cozy and welcoming and wholesome and soft in a world where the world is on fire, you know? So I will always love cozy for that, and I will be back in cozy at some point. I have an idea for a cozy kind of inspired by Green Teeth by Molly O'Neill, which I read earlier this year and fucking loved. That is very exciting and interesting, and it's going to be more in the vein of Green Teeth and like a tea kingfisher, so like cozy with teeth. I don't know when I'm going to work on that, but I have an idea for it. But yes, we are going into proper, I keep wanting to say proper fantasy. It's not proper fantasy. Epic fantasy, high fantasy, if you will. Maybe not, yeah, like we're going back to adventures, we're going back to fights and drama and magic and all this kind of stuff, and, you know, peril, death, if you will. We're going back to that, which is where my heart exists. I love writing the darker stuff. I really, really do. I have plans, of course. You guys know about Sage's story, the Far Horizons trilogy, which is the next like big project that I would really like to work on. The first book is a fantasy mystery, D&D leaning. It is, you know, I have a tagline in here. A group of wannabe heroes find themselves neck deep in a job they were woefully unprepared for, one where the dead don't rest peacefully. It is D&D adventure with some real dark themes in it, like necromancy and all that kind of stuff. It is Sage's story. You've met Sage. She's a character in a second story that you meet. Her grandfather is in all the rest of the books. We love Sherville. He's a lighthouse keeper in Airmount, but Sage's story is not cozy. She chose the life of a hero, of an adventurer, and that is a dark life to lead. It is a life of a lot of pain and a lot of sacrifice. I'm really excited to explore it. It's gonna be so much fun. But yeah, the first one of the trilogy is a fantasy mystery, and I'm very excited to write that. So that is still a goal of mine, to have draft 1 done by the end of the year. That's the biggest writing project that I would like to be working on for the rest of 2025. Have that drafted, because I really want to be working on this project and getting the story. Like in my head, I'm like, I already want to be editing this project. Like I want to be working towards this project to get it ready for querying. That's where I'm at. Like this is going to be a project that I try and query, because like if you guys have seen my query video that I did recently, where I wrote a query letter for Sage's story book 1, Far Horizons book 1. I talk about that in there, like genuinely wanting to just try and see if I can traditionally publish this, because I have always wanted to be an author. And when I was growing up, traditional publishing was the only viable source. And since joining the AuthorTube community and learning more about the self-publishing world, obviously I'm in the self-publishing world, I have changed my idea about self-publishing so drastically than what I had originally. Now, my goal is still to become a hybrid author, is what it's called. So both traditionally and self-published. I would really like to be actively pushing myself towards that goal now, because I want to, as I mentioned earlier, like be pushing for change, be pushing forward in my career, getting better at what I'm doing. And I really want to learn more about the traditional publishing world. Like I feel like I've learned all I can on the outside. I need to be on the inside. I need to be, let me in. Oh, let me open the doors. You know, like I want to be in it. I want to be knowing all those processes, going through all that kind of stuff, and genuinely just learning things. Like, I just want to be learning things about the traditional publishing world. That's really exciting to me. So we're going to be trying with Sage's story to query that. If that doesn't work out, which I have, listen, in a perfect world, it is a story that's going to sell really well because I think it's incredibly marketable, especially for right now. And which is another thing, I want to be working on it now, and I want to be like really quickly getting through it, drafting it, and then going back and polishing the story and getting it ready and better so that I can start sending it out to agents and querying it, because I think it's genuinely marketable now. Like, it's something that is interesting and not necessarily done as much. Like, fantasy mystery has always been there, but it's starting to kind of pick up a little bit of speed, like with the Raven Scholar recently. That is a fantasy mystery book. Empire of Exile is my favorite book. Fantasy mystery, you know? It's there, and I really want to be in this little niche. And a lot of what the person that I was having give me advice on querying when I did my query video for this, she said that this idea is genuinely very marketable because of like the D&D adventure, and also because it's interesting with the fantasy mystery aspect of it, right? Like, it's pulling at like those two genres and bringing them together in an interesting way. We also have necromancy, which I know people love, and it's set in a pirate village. So like, pirates, we love pirates, right? Like, there's a lot of things that I think are pretty marketable and I think would really work. There is also going to be a romance subplot in this, maybe not necessarily in the first one, but like throughout the trilogy, yes. And it's going to be a little bit of a slower burn, a slower build. And there's a lot of like that genuine just heart. Hi, sweetness. There's genuine heart in it, like with trying to figure out who you are, believing in yourself, and you know, proving yourself. Hi. I know. You hate being held, but you're cute. Her ears are so far back. This is Freya, if you didn't know. This is my child. She turns 1 in like a week. Hi. I can't believe you're gonna turn 1 on the 24th. I love you too. Kiss tax. Okay, you can go. Sage, her journey in this is going to be very interesting because I have an idea of where I want her to start and where she is in a second story when we meet her. She's like this really naive, peppy 17, 18, like she's a teenager. Like, she's a bookseller. She desperately wants adventure and meaning in her life. Where we see her at the beginning of Far Horizons book 1, she is very much still in that mindset, but she also has kind of changed a little bit. She realizes that it's not just immediacy and it requires work, and she doesn't believe in herself as much anymore. Like, it's a journey of belief in oneself. It's this journey to proving herself to other people because she believes in herself so deeply, and she has all her life, and then she's like, well, if I can't do this, I have nothing left. And so it's a little bit of that, and I'm really excited to play with the magic in this one because the prologue of Far Horizons book 1 is going to require a trigger warning for animal cruelty, and that's where we're going. Like, I feel so funny saying that, looking like this and talking about my cozy book and like all this kind of stuff, but like it's going to require a content warning for that. It's not any of my main characters. It's the villain, obviously. But yeah, so we are going a little darker with this, and I'm very excited to do that. So that is the biggest project that's coming up, is Sage's story. It's Far Horizons book 1, really digging into that story and getting that draft done for the end of the year. That is the plan. And then, like, you know, querying it in 2026 and seeing where that goes. I also have other ideas percolating in my brain, other than like the cozy fantasy based on Green Teeth, which I mentioned, which I think I'm calling it Project Tread Lightly. Yeah. Tread Lightly is the pseudo title that I came up with. It was one of those weird moments where I was just sitting there thinking about it and I was like, what if it was called Tread Lightly? I think that would be a great title for this book. Anyways, so I have that in the back of my head, but like there's 3 other ideas that have been scratching at my brain. They want to be written. They want to be worked on. So in the coming weeks, hopefully before I go back to full-time teaching for piano, because I'm a piano teacher on the side, hopefully before I go back to that, because currently it is August 14th, obviously, and we go back the first week of September, second week of September kind of a thing. So I am hoping in the next couple weeks I can start this video at least. I don't know how long it's going to take. The idea is I'm going to be basically brainstorming and plotting, mostly bare bones, but getting the stories down of these 3 ideas. Now, I have a dystopian fantasy in my mind that originally was spawned by the song One-Eyed Girl by Florence and the Machine. One-Eyed Woman? One-Eyed Girl? One-Eyed? Is that the title of it? Oh, now I'm questioning myself. Girl with one eye. Not One-Eyed Girl. One-Eyed Girl. A Girl with One Eye. Specifically her BBC Proms CD that was released. That song is so good. And that's what sparked this original idea that I wanted to do something like Gideon the Ninth meets Vicious by V.E. Schwab, but it has morphed itself into a dystopian because I got so mad reading Fable for the End of the World by Ava Reed, because that book, it was really bad. And I think I could do something like that better, but not necessarily like that. Like, it's morphed. It's like, that was really the seed that I was like, what if I do a dystopian fantasy? And now I've got like more ideas from that, and I really want to work on this dystopian fantasy. And I will put the mood board for this book here. And it's going to be very Gideon and Harrow main character coded. It's going to be toxic. It's going to be insane. There's going to be necromancy in it too, because I love necromancy, okay? I love that kind of a magic system. It's going to be a different magic system entirely from the one that I'm going to explore in Sage's story, but it's also not going to be set in Revar. It's an entirely new world, and Revar is my world. So this is one idea. I also have a straight up thriller, a little bit of supernatural straight up thriller that is inspired by the song Good Girls by Josie Edwards. Every time I listen to that song, it just starts picking at this little like thread, and it just starts unspooling, and it just creates more and more of a plot in my head and vibes and all that kind of stuff. So like a straight up thriller with a little bit of like supernatural ghosty stuff, because I can never step far away from fantasy. You know what I mean? But this is something that I want to explore as well. And then there's also another one that was inspired by Isabella Bañez's What the River Knows, because it's based off of The Mummy, but I think it's really poorly done as like The Mummy based off of, and I'm like, I could do that better. That happens so much as I'm reading. Like, it happened with Fable for the End of the World. It happened with What the River Knows. Like, it's one of those things where it's like, well, this inspiration that you have, let me do it better. It's going to be, in my head at least, what it is right now, is a gender-meant The Mummy magical vibes. So like, take that bisexual chaos of a movie, which is just it's such a fucking good movie. Take that and flip the gender roles around. And that's what you have for Project Mummy. So those are the 3 books that I'm gonna kind of explore in that video concept idea that I have, where I, plot everything out and plan things out and like create the characters and create the stakes and the worlds and stuff like that. And why I wanted to do that is because I want to have this like little cache of outlines for stories that I can then like pick and go off of. Or I can like write a synopsis for each of them. One, because I think that would be nice to have, just have all these stories kind of like ready to go to start working on actually. Because one, I know in the traditional publishing world, once you get into it, if they ask you for what else you have going on, then I have things that I can be like, look, I have all these ideas that I could be working on. Two, I just want to have all these ideas like actually kind of go somewhere instead of just living in my brain rent free. That's a piece of content idea that I have coming up. I would really like to do that and have those 3 outlined and basically like ready to go. I have other ideas, of course, but those are the 3 that are like top of mind, most substantive, even though they are very substanceless. They're just vibes right now, but I have like roots of an idea that I can build off of. And I think it would be really fun to do a video of like outline with me, like, so like you can see my outlining process and stuff like that. So that is what's coming up. Other than that, we're gonna see. I would really like, I gotta turn this around to show you what's happening. Freya has discovered the ring light. Yeah, I'm talking about you, bestie. What's going on? I know. Hi, baby. Baby. Hi, baby. So yeah, that is what I would love to do. Her tail by the end of the year. Just have this cache of stories that I can work on, and also be working on Sage's stories so that I can actively start working towards pushing my career forward, bettering my storytelling, and hopefully, fingers crossed, break into the traditional publishing space. I wouldn't be too mad if I wasn't though, because I think the other 3 ideas that I have percolating, like that I just mentioned, would also be very marketable to agents. I don't think I would necessarily market my thriller to agents, because I want to be a fantasy author first, and then maybe like later down the line I could be like, oh, I also have this thriller idea, just like as a one-off type of thing, and then like publish it under a slightly different pen name, But I think the 2 fantasy ideas, the dystopian fantasy and the Mummy retelling essentially, would be more marketable, So who's to say? But yeah, stick around if you are new here. Hi, I'd love to have you. on my channel as we go forward from this cozy adventure that we just finished and just wrapped up. I did mention that there are going to be novellas. There are going to be novellas soon. Hopefully next year we're going to have at least one novella in the Airmount series come back out. So we will dip back into Airmount. This is not the last time you will see Airmount. I have ideas for novellas. And then I also have plans for another contemporary romance novella, which is an October romance. So again, it's something that I would need to start much earlier in the year and then get ready for an October release, or a September release, I guess, for fall, because it would be for the fall girlies. So, and it would be in the same realm as Marion Bright, like very Canadian, very small town, random small town in Canada type of vibe. That's on the docket as well. We're just gonna keep going forward from here. And again, did I even finish my thought earlier about the fact that like I wouldn't be super mad if Sage's story doesn't sell, because I will be self-publishing that if that one does not get picked up by an agent. I will be self-publishing that, but I'm going to give myself enough time on the query market with it. I genuinely want to give this a good try, you know? I like that it was focusing on Freya, not me. I would like to give it at least a half year, if not 8 months, 10 months on the query market to give it a full attempt to see if it will be picked up traditionally, because I genuinely believe it could be a wonderful book. Having said that, haven't written like 9,000 words of it, so we shall see. But anyways, my friends, thank you so much for being here. This ended up being a lot longer than I anticipated, but it is officially a favorite phase, publishing day. My child is out in the world. The third and final book in the Airmount book series. Freya is so mad that I'm holding her right now. Oh, baby girl, I'm covered in your hair and you stuck your face in my water glass. We love this. Chaos, thank you so much for being here and celebrating this little book today. I don't know if you made it to the end of this video. Leave me a thought down below of what you think of my ideas and if you're excited for any of them and what you would like to maybe see first. That'd be kind of fun. But yes, my friends, thank you so much for being here. I love you all dearly. I will catch you in another video very soon. Literally tomorrow. There's gonna be another video up on this channel. This is just an extra one because it's release day. Stay kind and keep on writing.